You're listening to Remotely We Are One, a podcast to help inspire others to take their lives back from the office commute. I'm Rick, a passionate beer rep who loves the industry but hates the commute.
And I'm Kaleem, a remote work advocate and consultant. We're going to speak with some of the top professionals who have managed to avoid the commute as they share stories from the most inspiring to the most comical, all while working remotely.
Man, this sounds exciting. Let's clock in.
Hi, I'm Chris Dyer. I'm a keynote speaker and remote work advocate, and I'm here at the Relead Summit.
Relead.
Relead.
Chris, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
it's great
happy to be here.
It's nice to finally meet you in person as well.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what?
much taller than I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was our first guest on the podcast. Am I right?
Very first guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about jumping in.
Thank you, sir.
So we're talking today about remote hybrid meetings.
Okay.
You've got employees in like 4 different time zones. I mean,
Yeah.
just people all over the country, right?
Yeah.
How do you set a cadence to meet with them on a regular basis? And you've used the term cadence a number of different times. And I really like that term.
Yeah. So I'm a big proponent of not having regular meetings. I think regular meetings, for the most part, are kind of getting in our way, right?
Okay.
Now, there are some exceptions.
Sure.
Certainly, like a sales team might do a daily stand-up.
Mhm.
Maybe if you're working on a project, you do have some regular meetings because it's for that project. But if you're like, hey, we always have a one-on-one every Monday, I hate that. I think that is totally disruptive to how a real remote work team works, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because you end up canceling and you end up waiting to get your answer until that Monday instead of like changing the environment. So what we did is we created all these different meeting types, cockroach meetings and ostrich meetings and tiger team meetings, and it allowed people the ability to call a meeting and share with it. So if I call a cockroach meeting, people know it's 15 minutes or less. It's one topic only. I'm coming to help you out.
Okay.
We're not going to be on a long meeting.
Mhm.
It's just going to be quick. And anyone can call it. But a tiger team meeting is a big meeting. Manager's going to call it. We're going to be on for an hour or 2 hours or all day,
Okay.
right? And so it changes the tone of what's expected.
Sure.
But we try to get rid of as many of those standard meetings as possible.
Okay.
So what would a dolphin meeting be?
I guess we meet underwater.
That's great. That's great. So we were talking
I
about
think that's when we just come and chirp at me, right? You just want to come. Gone off the rails already.
This is how we do. I love it. I love it. So we've been talking here really like what was the big challenge and what was the advice you were hoping or some of the knowledge you were hoping to soak in regards to, meetings? What were some of the things that you're really having a challenge with that you're hoping to kind of learn from?
Yeah, and as I kind of said, I didn't feel like I was having a challenge, but I'm always a little bit worried if I feel like I know the answer already. If I feel like I already have this figured out, then that means that I may not be open and willing to learn new things. So I came here intentionally challenging myself, saying, I think I've got this meeting thing figured out. I think I know how to do all of this. But maybe I should take a step back and assume that I don't and see what I can learn from everybody else, because maybe I can get even better at this thing.
Okay. Was there anything that you felt, or was it a validating thing? What do you feel like?
In some ways, it was certainly validation. I'm probably confirmation bias. But, I certainly got a bit of like, okay, yeah, I'm on the right track. I wanted to make sure I really understood like 4 time zones, 5 time zones, because certainly I'm much more typically living in the 3 time zone with most of my people, right? When you go into 4 and 5, it starts to get a little weird. And I have some people, like I have someone I work with, I talk to once a week who's in the Philippines, and basically she gets up at midnight and talks to me because she just wants to do that. I haven't asked her to do that, but that's what she's comfortable with. And I still feel bad every time I talk to her. Like, can we go really fast? It's midnight. You want to go back to bed, And it's not a great, but there is for this particular role, the cadence doesn't work. There's your word, cadence. Doesn't work async all the time. Sometimes we have got to get on the phone and review stuff together because there's a technical challenge, there's a language challenge, there's a lot of things happening where we do need to get together from time to time. And so that's the thing I worry about. Like when you're that many time zones, someone always gets screwed.
What I've heard is if you're the manager or you're the person calling the meeting, never do it in a comfortable time for you. Always share the pain.
Yeah.
So especially if you're the manager, always make it the most painful for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like versus like, you know, so, you know,
I've heard it that way.
The next time, do it at midnight.
Yeah.
You do it at midnight.
And you schedule the meeting. Being like,
I've heard it that way. I've also heard like alternating.
Yes.
So that everyone on the team, not just
it.
the leader, but everyone on the
Everyone's
team, so they have sympathy. But in this particular instance, it's just one other person. And they've been very insistent. This is maybe because they have another job during the day.
Good point.
That this is what's best for them. And I've tried I would get up at midnight for them. And they're like, no, this is fine. So that works.
So how do you navigate giving these team members the discretion to make the best decisions for themselves? Is that something that you can easily navigate?
There's a certain amount of training and communication so that people understand what the norms are. When they come in and they suddenly realize that I can call a meeting and I can invite anybody I want. So in a cockroach meeting, they can invite me. You know, they can invite the head of technology, head of marketing, anybody they think is the right person. Now, on the flip side, you are not obligated to attend that meeting. Anyone can invite you, but you can say no.
Okay.
And even if I, as a CEO, invite you, you can say no if you think I don't have time. I'm not on right now. This is not a topic I feel like I can contribute to.
Love that.
Right?
Oh, love that.
So that gives people the freedom to say, geez, I don't know how to fill out this form. And if I can't fill out this form, I can't do my job. Do I wait until I meet with my boss next Monday at 2:00? Or do I ask 5 to 7 people, hey, I'm having this challenge. Can anyone meet with me at 1:00 today? And people hop on. So I'll help you, 5-minute favor, help you figure it out or help you get a little bit unstuck, and they go away.
So great.
That is probably the most important thing that I have done and have taught other organizations to do, is to create that ability for each person to get unstuck themselves while eliminating what they tend to do, which is to go and Google it for 5 hours and try to figure it out on their own when someone else in the organization already had the answer in 5 minutes.
That is,
right?
Yeah.
And this is the trouble with remote work, is that people will get in these silos and they try to figure it out themselves. And they don't know where to look. They don't know what the answer is. They don't know how to get what they need. And somebody else could have saved them in 5 minutes.
So right now, you're a big culture guy and you talk a lot about culture. What are you talking about now? And congratulations on your recent, exit on your company. Congratulations.
I
know there's a lot of emotions that come with exiting, doing something that you've done for so long. So congrats. What is it that you're talking about right now? What's your topic for 2022? Because I know you're all over the road. So what are you speaking about?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. So people in different organizations seem to have different focuses. So I do kind of run around. But if I had to narrow it down to what are some of the bigger topics, there certainly has been a lot around the future of work.
Of course.
And what are we seeing there? What should we be expecting in the next few years as it relates to what's just happened?
Okay.
That's pretty big. They're still always talking about culture. And I would say inside of culture, the biggest area that people still are not very good at is positive leadership. And so this is an actual methodology called appreciative inquiry, where your managers can be trained, your people can be trained, and it allows them a framework and a wording to think about the world in a different way. So I can give you 2 examples. The first one would be, if you walk around saying, I'm a good problem solver, it's inherently negative. You're walking around looking for problems so you can solve them. Right? And so
I'm not good at that. Remember? Remember you told me the other day. I was like, nah, it's something I'm not good at. And then what did you say?
Not yet.
Love it.
Boom.
Right? And that's the positive leadership thing, right?
Love it.
And so that it's kind of a real shift. So what we want to do in positive leadership is always say yes. Yes and yes but. See, we can help us a little bit there because someone may come to us with a really crazy question just to push our boundaries. But I always say yes to any question anybody says to me.
Love that one. That's a good one.
Right? Wow. And I always tell people, don't go tell everyone you're going to start saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
Because you'll have people in your life that, especially your kids, will try to manipulate you.
Of course.
But if you take that on personally, you will know it. And there's the Jim Carrey movie. There's a really famous British movie that happened before that like, we know what happens when we say yes to everything. Our life changes in a really positive way, right? We have new experiences. We meet new people. These great things happen. And I mean, I came to this because I said yes, right? I said yes, but I need to figure it all out. Like I got to get the details and all that. And I gave myself, but when you asked me, I said yes. I didn't even like think about it. It was sure, let's do it. Let's figure it out. The second part is that we need to talk about what's working first. So when we get together with our team, when we get together with clients, when we talk to anybody, we should start with what's working. Who's killing it? Where are we doing great? If you have a really angry client who calls you up and they're like, you guys, this is the worst thing ever. And they're out of their minds mad. If you say, listen, I really want to help you figure this out, but just so I understand, can we figure out what's working right now? What are we doing okay? What are we doing well for you in our relationship with you as our client? Just so I can take that off the table. We can just put it over here so I really understand the issue. And they'll start telling you all the things you're doing good. And you'll notice that they just go down to like
brilliant.
Down to like level 4. They were at 10.
Wow, Obi-Wan, are you kidding me? You're no longer mad.
That's right. This is not the fight you want to have. But they go right down to like, you guys do this great, you do this great, you do this great. This guy was calling me back, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, okay, now how do we improve? Not how do I solve your problem? So appreciative inquiry says, we don't want to get somebody back to where they were the moment right before they were angry. Right.
Their mental and physical state, emotional state.
Right. So let's just say the issue is I keep sending the invoice to the wrong person. And they're like, I told you guys 5 times, don't send it to John, send it to accounting. And they're pissed off, right? And you say, okay, but I could fix that. I could just fix the small thing and get you back to where you were right before you were angry. Or I can say, why is that important? What's happening internally? And then they may say, well, I have this going on and this happens. And you may go, oh, well, I have a better solution for you. Or maybe we should change our technology to allow you to be able to change. You start finding innovations and new things. When we just try to solve someone's problem very short term, we just sort of get you not mad, go away, and I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. We lose the chance to get better. And so that's where leaders can really make an impact on an organization by thinking about the world that way, right? Not just why are these 2 employees upset at each other? Why is this client upset? What's happening and how do I make this better for everyone? Not just get rid of this little annoyance right now.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. You say is it appreciation leader? No.
Appreciative inquiry.
Appreciative inquiry. I love that.
Yeah.
You hear that? Start off with the
write it down.
You're doing a great job, Rick. You stink, Rick.
I'm so confused.
I'm so confused. Now Rick's hitting you with the most important question.
So
you know how this works.
We've been through this before, of course. Can you offer us something that may be a little bit memorable or embarrassing that sticks out in your mind from your career? Something that a lot of people might not know about you.
Memorable or from my career? That's an interesting question.
Or it could be about you personally. It doesn't have to involve work. Just something that a lot of people might not know about you. Let's simplify it a little.
Yeah.
I overcomplicated it. So.
Yeah, you did. You definitely got all jarbly in there.
Where I'm sitting with a celebrity. I got flustered.
He has gray hair too. That's the other thing. When someone has gray hair too.
Distinguished gentleman.
Yeah. I think for a long time, I was under the illusion that to be creative, you have to be artistic.
Okay.
And when I got myself unscrewed from that thought process, that I can be creative by coming up with amazing solutions, and I can be creative in all these different ways, then I started to feel like a creative person. I always wanted to be. And I realized that I was doing these very creative things in my life, but I didn't call them that. Right? I was like, well, I'm not a painter, and I'm not a sculptor, so I'm not a creative person.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that a lot of people are stuck in that mindset. Right? And so by changing that, I was able to start feeling better and feeling like I could be more creative in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And what was really surprising was that unlocked actual artistic creativity. I started learning guitar. I was in bands for a long time up to the pandemic. I started doing all these things that I, in that fixed mindset, thought I could never do. Yeah. I'm not a good drawer. I'm not good. And it then unlocked me to, you know what? There are very few people in this world that are just naturally good at something. Mm-hmm. Most of them work really hard.
Absolutely.
Most of them practice.
Very rare.
And you found those doors open for you once you unlocked that mindset.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Unbelievable. So, Mr. Dyer, thank you so much for coming. Can you please tell our viewers and listeners, where can we find you?
The easiest thing is chrisdyer.com. You can always follow me on TikTok, chrisdyer.com as well, or on LinkedIn, and wherever you hang out, I'm probably there with content. So
awesome. Well, we've enjoyed this conversation, and certainly it's been a fun couple of days. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You've been listening to the Remotely We Are One podcast. Visit us at remotelyone.com/podcast for upcoming episodes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and download our episodes on your favorite podcast app.
Hey, don't forget to clock out.